Councilmember Dean, Councilmember Howe, Councilmember Hyman,
Present.
Councilmember Jackson,
Here.
Councilmember Ward,
Here.
Vice Mayor Riffle,
Here.
Mayor Malcolm.
Here.
This evening we have our prayer and pledge by Councilmember Ward.
If you could take your hats off and bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, I come in prayer, not for you to guide us in the decisions we make up here in this chamber, for the definition of politics is a struggle over money, and I'm sure that has no place in your kingdom. With that said, Lord, I come in prayer that you remind all 7 of us up here of the gifts and blessings you have bestowed upon us, and that you guide our leadership outside of these chambers to serve others, to serve our community, and most importantly, serve you. And I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening we have a special presentation by our mayor and vice mayor.
So we're here this evening to honor the Washington Irving Middle School Hilltoppers boys basketball team. So City of Clarksburg certificate of recognition. This certificate is presented in honor and recognition of your acceptable coaching skills and dedication to youth that earned the Washington Irving Middle School Hilltoppers boys basketball team the Mid-Mountain 10 Conference Championship. Congratulations, Coach DJ. Coach Randy Lawrence, Coach Dale. Parker Fairs. Over here, son. Just like your dad. Will Perkins. Congratulations, sir. Elijah Holmes. Congratulations. Jacoby Magruder. Congratulations. Cale West. Congratulations. You're welcome, sir. Titan Boyce. Jacob Clark. Landon Hawkins. Congratulations. Malachi Rockhead. Mason Kingston. Congratulations. Abraham Morrison. Hayden Groves. Luke Riley. Congratulations. Bryson LeBay. Congratulations, son. Kieran Hollyfield. Congratulations. Isaiah Singleton. Somebody said you were the leading rebounder. Is that true? Ian Barksdale. And Lennox Curran. half of you young gentlemen get down here on this side so everybody can get a picture, please.
Before they get the picture, can we just give these guys a standing ovation? Great job, guys. Congratulations.
You guys need some people. One couple of you, fellows, come up here and come up. Mark, there you go. Come on. Yes. Leading rebounder. Look at here. Thank you, Jason. Everybody good?
One thing was great about that game was we beat Bridgeport too. There's no better way to go out and win a championship. The last game, I was at the last game at WI and went to the championship game. Should have took that shot towards the end. I should have held on to that ball, but it worked out. It worked out. But honestly, I appreciate everything you guys did, all your hard work, and the way to go out on top like that. It's a big moment, especially for people that went to WI. I was WI middle school. Went to WI high school, so he's probably the first year still. But it means a lot to the community. So we got to do more, better jobs to be step up and supporting you guys. We appreciate what you guys did. Keep working hard. Go to the next step, and
Congratulations to the parents for raising these fine gentlemen. Thank you, guys. And I will add, if you don't have to stay for the meeting, guys, unless you got a geography class or a history class. Bye.
How fast they are.
Everybody got to see the truck, right?
Yeah. You guys get to see the truck out there.
Oh, yeah. I'll take a picture of it.
Perfect. No, we're good. Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
Approval minutes of the conference session of February 13th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Approval of the minutes of the regular session of February 2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Approval of the minutes of the conference session February 20, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Petitions, communications, and public hearings. Marilyn Blake wishes to address council concerning Tree of Heaven and Lantern Fly invasion. Tree of Heaven and Lantern Fly invasion.
Too short. I know most of y'all. Y'all know I don't live in Clarksburg, don't you? I live out at Buffalo Lake. But my husband and I own 7 properties in Clarksburg, and we're called L&M Rentals, and we are proud of ourselves taking the nastiest house in the neighborhood and turning it into one of the nicest houses in the neighborhood. We have Tree of Heaven and Japanese lanternfly at 3 of our properties. You're going to hear more about that in a minute. Did it just fall all the way down? 410 High Street up in Colonial Heights, 913 James Avenue in Northview, and 1326 George Avenue, also in Northview. All have Tree of Heavens on the property next door. There was one at 410 High Street, but we cut it down and we cut back the wild grape and porcelain berry that was on the property as well. This, like December, Christmas time, I found a dead lanternfly in our barn out at Buffalo Lake, and I figured it came from the tools that we used to clean the properties at the property at 410 High Street. Then when we were getting it ready for a new tenant in January and February, I found dead lanternflies on the front and back porches, in the house, in the basement. Yeah, so the person from the State Department of Agriculture is going to talk to you about eradication of the lanternfly and the tree of heaven in this area so that we can stop this problem with 2 invasive species that came from Japan. I also have one thing I forgot to put on my note, but I'd really like to ask council to find out who owns the steps that are across from A.B. Cody's and take them down. The trespassers use those steps, and it's very intimidating to our tenants. I don't believe the trespassers live in Northview. Someone might want to tighten up the microphone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
James Watson.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is James Watson. I'm with the West Virginia Department of Agriculture within the Plant Industries Division, and I coordinate the spotted lanternfly program for the department. Spotted lanternfly is an invasive insect pest from China. We have it in 15 of our 55 counties in West Virginia so far. We have detected a substantial little satellite population within the city of Clarksburg on the north side of Route 50 around the rail yard area. So spotted lanternfly damage is primarily focused on a couple of agricultural species, namely cultivated grapes and hops, and then several important forestry species, specifically silver maple, black walnut, sumac. I mentioned red maple also. So what we do is we try to prioritize and focus on particular properties and areas where there's a lot of traffic moving through it. Because the insect's a really good hitchhiker, and that's how it moves typically from one area to another area. And so what I'm here for is I would like to get a treatment agreement signed with the city of Clarksburg that would give us permission to treat for spotted lanternfly and tree of heaven, the preferred host of the spotted lanternfly, on municipality properties that you all manage or directly own. So what that'll do is that'll cut down, the threat on, those plant species I already mentioned within the city limits, and also reduce the amount of the pests that will aggregate in the city moving forward. Because of the large amount of tree of heaven, the preferred host in the city, we have reason to believe that, Clarksburg will probably follow a similar situation as what we've seen in Winchester, Virginia, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the spotted lanternfly will just, amass in very large numbers and become, for lack of a better way to put it, kind of a plague. So we're doing the best we can, to treat. So that's my sales pitch. I got with me a treatment agreement.
Is this them?
It is, sir, yes.
How big do they get?
When they're adults, they're about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in size. So pretty large. People get really upset when they're around their businesses and homes and that kind of thing. So
They're beautiful.
they are beautiful. Yeah, they're very destructive.
Wow.
Are they loud?
Are they what? I'm sorry.
Loud?
No, they don't make any sounds like cicadas or anything like that.
Okay.
It seems like they're kind of like stink bugs, like
Yeah.
storm wise. It seems like,
Okay.
yeah.
They're in the same order, insect order as
I've never seen one around here yet, but I've seen them in the Eastern Panhandle a lot, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of-
I haven't seen
You
one
said
yet.
you saw them around railroad tracks?
I'm sorry.
You said you saw them around railroad tracks?
They are in the neighborhood over here on the north side of 50 around the rail yard, yes.
So is that possible why how they're moving throughout the state?
You mean the rail lines?
Yeah.
Yes, rail traffic is definitely a large method for them to move from one area to another. But we can't say for sure that the rail is how they got to Clarksburg. It could have been-
CSX won't say that either.
It could have been on materials that were transported there from home, or who knows. They're there, that's the thing.
So is the staple, is it a spray? Is it a dust? I mean, what do you
So-
do to eradicate them?
Good question. So what we do is we target the tree of heaven. The tree of heaven is an invasive plant from China. It's the preferred host of the spotted lanternfly. So more tree of heaven means more spotted lanternfly, and that increases the feeding pressures on the secondary hosts that I mentioned, like the silver maple and black walnut. So what we do is, if the tree of heaven is smaller, 5 inches in diameter and smaller, we'll spray it and kill it. We would like to kill it, but we typically don't, because if we did that, in many situations, it would create a hazard tree that could fall on, cars and things like that. So we'll usually try to treat those as like a trap tree. We'll put a systemic insecticide on those, and then when the insects come and feed on them, they'll die. All this treatment is, confined to the tree of heaven, and the base of the tree is the stem. So the insecticide would be the bottom 4 feet of the tree trunk, and then the herbicide would be the bottom 18 inches of the tree trunk. So it's not like an aerial application where there's concern of, non-targets and things like that.
So what vegetation do they affect? Like
The secondary hosts, silver maple, black walnut, red maple are the 3 main forest trees in this area that we'd be concerned about. And then for ag crops, in this area, it's mostly cultivated grapes. So anybody that have like a winery.
You said sugar maple?
Silver maple.
Silver maple.
Yeah, sugar maple, we don't really see a lot of activity on that.
Cultivated grapes like Northview.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cultivated.
Fruit trees, I read fruit trees like apples, prunes, peaches.
Yeah, so far, a lot of the literature will talk about fruit trees, but thus far in our Eastern Panhandle, we're not really seeing issues on peaches, apples, those crops like that. I mean, they'll be on those crops just because they're all over the landscape. They're going to be on everything, but we're not really seeing damage on those plant species, thankfully.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I'll take your information. Thank you, and we'll contact you. It's wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
City managers report. So the departments throughout the city have been very busy. The city parks are all getting geared up for spring and summer. There's supposed to be a big announcement coming out of the amphitheater about their headliner show for this summer. They've hired their staff. They're continuing to hire part-time staff. Yes, sir.
If I may, council, I have asked Mr. Comer, and I would like, if you so would choose to, I think we ought to name the amphitheater the John Cooper Amphitheater instead of just the stage. I think we should name the amphitheater after John. He put his heart and soul into that place out there, and we lost him way too soon. So that's just a suggestion. If you happen to see Doug or call him, make that suggestion, please. Sorry.
No apologies. And if the council wants me to move forward with that, we can put it on a upcoming agenda. Code enforcement has been busy. They were a little bit slower because of the inclement weather. However, they are going out and about throughout the city and making sure that they're working hard to get properties in order and cleaning up the city. There's been no dog calls this last month, which was good to see as well. All inspectors are now keeping daily logs and they're reviewed each week. That is something new that we're implementing so we can track the progress through the neighborhoods. Finance has brought in just over $89,000 of B&O taxes and over $15,000 of hotel tax. Everything else is listed there for the finance department. Tetrick and Bartlett continues to work on the 2023-2024 audit and plans completion by the end of March of 2025. An employee appreciation day is tomorrow, March 7th. The finance department will celebrate with their employees for the great job that they do all year. The fire department responded to a total of 298 calls in the month of February. One fire was outside of the city on Milford Street that we attended. And as you all saw on council out front, our new fire engine was received and we put it out front for everybody to see today. It's great that we have that piece of equipment for the city. So the grants in community development and economics, they've been busy working on Brownsfields, working with congressional spending awards, working on the budget, working with developers, attending lots of different committee meetings. There's lots of exciting things happening right now in the city that we're working on. And as they become public and are more forward in the process, we will bring those forward to council as well. If you can skip all the way over to the planning report. So there's been discussion in projects in Glen Elk. We've met with the Army Corps of Engineers. We've done zoning and planning for Glen Elk. We continue to work with major historic redevelopment projects and working on a plan for a arts and cultural district downtown as well. In the police department, there's a new officer, Christopher Henson was sworn in on the 3rd. There's new testing for the police department for cycling, that's gonna be on the 15th. The Clarksburg Police Department responded to 1,595 calls for service in the month of February. And congratulations to Sergeant Justin Moore for receiving the Merit Service Award, Patrolman Jaron Morris being named Officer of the Month for January 2025, and Patrolman First Class Brandon Kirkpatrick for receiving the Good Conduct Award. Public Works, they've been busy. They've had a couple slips. They've had a sinkhole. There's been maintenance to lift stations. They've done cammering of lines. They've started painting the Public Works garage and doing light maintenance. They've removed fallen trees and fallen brush. They replaced a couple of street signs. I had a request from Councilor Ripple and Councilor Worth about a street sign to be replaced. I guess delivery companies were having a hard time. That's been completed as well.
Yes.
And the Robinson Art Performing Theater, all their shows and events are listed there. You can go to therobinsongrand.com to find out more. The wastewater treatment plant treated approximately 321 million gallons of wastewater for the month of January. They're also working on the 2025 sanitary board budget. And as a reminder, the public to please not flush baby wipes or flushable wipes down the drains. They do not dissolve and can cause blockages in the sewer line as well as damage to the pumps. Get started on it. No.
City Clerk's information, a zoning form in connection with an application to operate a West Virginia ABCA licensed Class B establishment filed by James Son LLC doing business as Clarksburg Price Cutter, 1724 Adams Avenue, was returned to the applicant on February 21. Unfinished business, consideration of second and final reading and public hearing of an ordinance entering into encroachment agreement with Central Holdings LLC regarding Baltimore Street. Notices regarding the public hearing appeared in the Expedited Telegram on February 25 and March 5th.
We will now open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against may do so at this time. We will close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
New business, consideration of first reading of an ordinance of the City of Clarksburg to amend section 745.06, 745.13, 745.16, 745.17, 745.20, and 745.23 of the business and taxation section of the codified ordinances.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anybody want a discussion on this?
Yeah, I just want to clarify. It seems like we're just allowing more personnel to end up with negotiation of debt collection and other things like that.
Yes, so it's not limited to one person in the organization.
And that's going to be by you, like doled out by you, like.
Yes, so if finance will do the paperwork part, but now it can be done by Steve or the police department. It depends on what the situation is, but it gives us more authority to make sure those bills are coming in.
Anyone else? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Consideration of first reading of an ordinance amending section 1730.02 and 1730.07 of the vacant building registration program.
Second. Discussion.
Yes.
I love the idea, the whole 90 days. And I like how we mirrored Charleston's ordinance. The only question I have is on the fee scale. So what was the rationale in increasing the fee scale? Was that to offset costs to securing properties and board ups?
It's that, and it's an incentive to either fix the property or sell the property instead of letting it sit vacant because of what happens with the vacant buildings in the city.
Yeah, I like the idea. I just wanted us to clarify, like, what the increase rationale is.
I guess my question is, what makes it automatic? It says in your description there's automatic registration. How does it work automatically?
So I answer that, Councilman. So it's not technically automatic per se. It's just, that's the language Charleston used. So currently, the vacant property is almost voluntary, unless you start doing fines and those sort of situations. But what the automatic does is if the city knows that there's a property that should be vacant or is likely vacant, then the city manager or whoever the designee is can go out and post notice on that property as well as send notice to the homeowner or the property owner. If the property owner doesn't respond within 30 days to explain why it's vacant or voluntarily put on, then the city manager can go ahead and automatically put it on the vacant property. So it just creates a mechanism for us to get these properties that was reporting on the vacant property list after proper notice.
Understood.
So what's the benefit of voluntarily putting your property on the vacant registration list? It's like me running the stop sign and calling Chief Kitty and say, hey, I ran a stop sign, give me a ticket. Like it just does it.
I mean, there is no particular benefit. It's like, as you point out, for most laws, there's no particular benefit per se. And
That's just how it's
that's
been.
part of the reason. I mean, like B&O taxes. I mean, does anybody necessarily want to pay those? It's the same reason we're going back to why we just increase people to give enforcement powers. So I'm not sure. The vacant property registrations were made as a way for the cities to be able to identify properties that could be broken into, codes, no passes, those sort of things. That's why all these cities have them. When I'm talking with our department before, there's exponentially more fires at abandoned vacant properties than there are at other properties. So, and we know that, if we look at it, one thing we add to that was buildings that are open are subject to more penalty. So if you don't take the effort to board it up, then you're going to be penalized. And that's one of the things we've got stacks of them where public works has to go out and actually board up this stuff. That's part of the principle of why they vacant property. Just trying to put that onus on the property. And also, the other thing is the Vacant Property Act allows us to see if there's insurance on the building. That's required. It also allows us to have a notice of contact. Some of these companies that own these properties are not even in the state and aren't registered. The Secretary of State requires them to have that. So it's more for our benefit than it is.
We're trying to be more proactive.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess
They have no benefit to doing it, but there's fines and everything else.
Because my first thought was our landlord registration. It provides no benefit to the actual people that do it. Actually, most of them said it's better for them when they don't do it. But so I'm just, you listed more things as reasons why to do it than like a program like the other one.
So, Richard, I know you can provide clarification on this. The only way the building can be on this list if it is vacant and has a building code violation?
No.
No. Okay.
No. So if it's vacant, I believe it's for a year, then or maybe it goes. I got to pull up this. If it's vacant, it ends up on it. So, but if it's a building code violation, it can go on a different way. So the whole principle is, if the property is vacant, there's a reason it's vacant. Now, there's a good cause to explain why it's vacant. If it's under contract to be sold, if it's under realtor, there's various ways, if it's currently being worked on with a building permit, that's a good cause of why it shouldn't be considered vacant for our purposes.
Right. And so this applies to all types of zoning, right? This applies to commercial property and residential property.
That's
right?
correct.
Okay.
And we're not changing it. This is already in
Sure.
place.
Yeah.
Can we
How many properties are currently on this list?
I don't have that number off the top of my head
Okay.
because it includes the condemnation list, because generally the houses that
Sure.
are condemned are vacant as well.
Right.
But I can get that and send that to you.
Okay.
In addition to that, can we have how much revenue it generates at the
Yes.
same time? Thank you.
Any other discussion?
So there is an argument that by making it easier for us or providing a mechanism for us to put these properties on this list, that it's increasing public safety. Would you agree with that?
It absolutely increases public safety.
Okay.
Because the whole goal is, we have an excellent example here of a building that was, not used very often, or perhaps, I don't know, abandoned, I don't wanna say that, Mr. Papa, but this is somebody who's working on his building very much so right now, and doing exactly what we want with that building, which is working on it, using it as a business, and bringing it up, and gonna put it back in very productive use for the city. I mean, not literally for the city, but for the benefit of people here, versus, you know, I drove past another property when I went over to Mr. Papa's, that's one of our problem children. It sits right on the edge of Glen Elk. It gets broken into all the time, and that's property that should probably be torn down or sold. And so, but now we're able to identify that and keep a better eye on that property.
And there's over
The other property.
there's over
Over
200 vacant condemned homes and buildings so far, just off the top of my head. That's
Okay.
what the list is at and counting.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good idea. I really do.
I think one of the best ways to find them is when people come and buy them from out of state, and then they don't do nothing with them. There's one over in Glen Elk, that guy bought it, I don't know, 2 years ago now, and there's been nothing. I've heard nothing. I've tried to contact him, find out something, but there's been nothing done. So, I mean, they do right from the beginning. It's a benefit to their business plan. So for other places.
Mr. Lane, I have identified several that we go on that list.
Just one more question. How challenging is it to collect the registration fees?
Very challenging.
Very challenging.
I've actually spoken to J.B. McCuskey, and he has forwarded me someone into his office to try to craft some legislation to help deal with that.
Okay.
I think Attorney General.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Consideration of first reading of an ordinance amending section 1707.09 to modify requirements for resurfacing of excavation of city streets.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Go ahead, Councilman North.
Oh, I had two questions. One, so why are we lowering the requirement from 30% of the road being paved to 20% being cut in order for folks to pave the entire street?
What this does, it actually lowers their threshold, not ours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what
So
I
it's for the
figured.
benefit of the city.
Okay.
So we want the entire road paved, even if you do 20% instead of 30, because it doesn't, the appearance isn't great, the integrity isn't great. So we feel this is a more reasonable number. We also want to make sure that when the roads are being worked on, that the milling is done correctly, so we don't increase any flooding issues in the city.
Okay. And the other question I had, and this is probably just a formality within the language of the ordinance, like for example, it will say if more than 20% of the cut or elevated street is impacted by the cut or excavation, then the street shall be resurfaced. Should the language be the entire street should be resurfaced, or does that even matter?
Well, we can tighten up that language if you'd like, because again, is it the block or is it the entire street?
That's
I
what
would
I was
argue
thinking.
it's the block. That's what we're intending to
Oh,
say
okay.
here, not 8 blocks when you're just doing one.
Right.
But if council prefer, they can vote on this one and we can make that for the next reading.
My question is, and Steve, you might remember this. Mr. Workman was a very strong proponent of this ordinance. Didn't we pass something similar not very long ago? Are we just amending it again
Yeah.
to include?
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to make sure that everything's, because there's so much work coming in the city, basically every neighborhood's going to be touched with the water replacement lines, the lead, the waste lines, and hope gas is already in the ground. We want to make sure this is all in place so that the city looks nice and presentable when it's complete. So that's why it's coming forward now.
And when we passed that last one, was it at 20%? Now we're just bumping it to 30? Is that?
It was 30 and we're moving it down to 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And it was done maybe a year or two before I was here.
Yeah, that sounds right. I know Mr. Workman was, it seems like every time he came here, he talked about that.
Yes.
So
All right.
my question is, you know, how did we come up with 20%? How did we move from 30 to 20? Why not 15? You know.
So our project director, Jason Lane, came up with that.
Sure.
There's Jason.
Hi,
He
Jason.
used to be at the Department of Highways, and he has some rationale behind that number, because I suggested 25 and he said actually 20 is where it needs to be.
It has to do with the width of the cut of each of the individual trenches. A lot of the times they might only have a 2-foot bucket available to do their cuts. So I took that into account to where it doesn't force them to buy a different size bucket in order to obtain the same result. And the fact of the rotoviller being added in there to the ordinance where it wasn't before has to do with, like Ms. Bell said, the flooding of the roadway, where you've got existing curbs on each side of the line. If they come in there thinking that they're going to just repave the road, they're going to lower those curbs by 1.5 inches as they come up. So they have to mill down 1.5 inches in order to put 1.5 inches back to keep water off the residents' homes.
Right.
And I think it's a great idea because you weren't on council then, but we had the Spring Street situation.
Yeah.
And then we, what's that? Oh, Spring. And then, and I don't know if you guys were familiar when the main sewer line that's coming out of the courthouse. I mean, when they repaved that, I mean, it was a disaster. I mean, they just paved a strip right down the middle. And I think Chief Kitty was the interim city manager at the time. Yeah. So yeah, that was, and luckily we rectified that, but the 30, moving it down to 20%, I think it's very fair, especially with how much folks are gonna be making from the water project anyway.
Well, absolutely. Now, this isn't going to affect the pricing of any of the bids or anything, right?
Nothing, it won't affect anything current, it won't be active until the ordinance is passed, and then so it could affect some of the pricing depending on the competitive bidding through the water.
Okay. But everyone will be aware of that. We're not.
They were already aware that
Okay.
the roads had to be replaced when they did the lines, and milling is a normal part of road replacement. That's the proper way to do it. So this should not come as a surprise. We just thought it should be reflected in the ordinance.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Consideration of a resolution of the City of Clarksburg, West Virginia, approving parking authority of the City of Clarksburg's contract with Parkion Inc. and to secure taxable financing.
So
I guess second, just for discussion.
Yeah.
So,
I don't have a second.
I gave a second.
Okay.
So discussion on this. I'm a lot more critical of this one.
I can give some background if you'd like. On what this is
If you
for.
want to do that first, that's fine.
So most of our pay stations right now aren't working. Jackson Square, we're working, parking garage. So these pay stations will take coin, phone app, and card. It went through the traffic commission. So really what you guys are doing, just ratifying their vote. We're trying to make it more efficient. Make sure we get paid. We still have Larry doing tickets. There's an option in here. The county recently bought another parking lot. So I've talked to Laura, my counterpart at the county. We have the option to buy a 5th one, and if they want us to monitor that and ticket that, they would have to pay for their portion. We haven't agreed on anything yet, so we have the option to buy that, but we got better pricing with 5. So this is an efficiency for the city is what this is. So with these machines, they're completely automated and there's no arm. So Larry will be there in the parking garage. He will be there to monitor who has tickets on their cars, who is a monthly pass, but that's to make it's an efficiency, and we need these. Apparently this was done well before I came here. There was a bid put out to change some inner workings of the Jackson Square parking meters in particular, and the city bought them and then the company closed shop and we can't use them. So we have to get this done, and we'll have a maintenance contract, and there'll be a savings for the city. I hope that explains it.
Yeah, I support, putting up, these pay stations. The only thing I worry about is the county lots, okay? Do we receive any kind of written permission from the county commission?
So again, this isn't done through the county. It's
Okay.
just when we talk to the company, we got a better price. The price doesn't change if we don't order ones for the county or one for the county. That can come after, but we included them in here if they would so choose to do that.
So the county commission would have to approve for us to put those
Yes.
on their lots.
Yes, sir.
Before we would do that.
Yes.
Okay, that clarifies it. That's really, I just didn't want to encroach if the county commission, has not heard of this or approved this, because those are their lots. So,
Yes. Oh, I've talked to
um,
Lauren. I talked to the gentleman in charge of maintenance, Mr. Riffle, I think his name is.
well, and that's fine, but that would still have to go to the county commission itself.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm aware of, we just I can't wait any longer for us.
Right.
So if they so choose, then they can. If not, it's not a problem. either.
It's not a problem. We just won't put them on the
That's
county
right.
lots if the commission doesn't want to. Okay, that's fine.
How much money is the Jackson Square bottom lot really turning over? I mean, is it?
Well, it's hard to judge because they're not working. The ticket machines.
Mhm.
How long have they not been working?
A while.
Okay. So, I mean, if we went back, what would be the last year we had financial records for?
Well, we have monthly parkers in there.
Okay.
So
And those people are not affected.
that's right. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work, same as the manual meters we had along Pike and Main and the back streets. We're working progressively to get everything working or taken out or changed over.
I was just curious how long we anticipate paying on it. I mean, $39,000 seems like.
Just a few years.
Yeah,
Not long.
I mean, that was my guess. So it seems like it would take a little bit of time.
What we
but
don't
not
want to do is
forever.
go over the current budget, so we're gonna take on an agreement that it matches the line item or less annually until it's paid off.
And they don't collect any fees off the parking. It's just, it all goes up. So the $39,000 just for the machines and maintenance on them.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Council comment?
Mr. Deans?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I share your sentiments about the John Cooper stage. I think that'd be a great way to honor his legacy. Congratulations to the WI basketball team. Always good to see success at the local level in our city. Some of those students will be my students next year at Liberty Middle, and just to kind of keep everyone updated on that. The staffs of Mountaineer and WI have been meeting, and we're finalizing our strategic plan and our mission statement, and I'm really excited about what this middle school is going to provide to the city and to the county. It's really going to be a high quality place of learning. I am also supportive of working with the state on the invasive species. I'd heard of the lanternfly, but I think we're also probably going to have to do some education with the State Department to let people know what they're looking for.
We will do that.
Because I live in Northview, and I don't claim to know a lot about trees or plants, and I don't think I've seen those, but maybe. So we didn't have council comments in our last meeting. I just wanted to congratulate everyone on a great first Friday last February. I thought that, or in February, I thought that was a really great evening to see everyone in the Robinson Grand, the free movie, and I would definitely like to see more opportunities like that to allow our citizens to use some of our great facilities at no additional cost to them, whether we do that through grants or corporate sponsorships. I think those are all avenues that we should be looking to make sure that those opportunities are available to people. So first Friday tomorrow night, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jackson?
I would like to congratulate all the young men who were here. That was the high school that I attended when it was high school. But, that's, sad to see it go, and I hope something productive comes of that building. To Officer Moore, for the award that he won, congratulations, and, thank you for that hard work. I would also like to say that, I'm excited to move around the city, and down on the west end, we have the company down there. They're doing work, putting in the gas line. Then over here on the east end, we got a company over there. They're doing some work. And then when I come around by the old car wash down in West End, I see the big pieces of pipe. It's exciting to see work happening in Clarksburg. And I encourage you, all the citizens, please be patient. You've asked, that, let's get our city put back together. It's going to take time. People say, well, you know what? It starts from the ground up. No, the truth of the matter is we're seeing where it starts. It starts under the ground and up. And it's going to be a little inconvenient, but this inconvenience is going to be, this is the first step to getting us where we need to be. So, I thank you all in advance for your consideration of all the workers who are out there day and night working to try to help our city get back into one piece. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hyman?
I'm just looking forward to First Friday and looking forward to some warmer weather. And that's all I got. I hope everyone has a great evening. Congratulations to the WI middle school basketball team. Looking forward to some more success when they move up to middle, I guess, Liberty Middle and the new high school, I guess.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Mr. Wingworth?
Yes, I first want to extend my condolences, Mr. Mayor, to your mother-in-law, Brenda's mother. I don't care whether they're 55 or 93, it's always tough losing a parent. I lost one. And initially, you feel the pain because you miss them so much. But afterwards, it does get a little easier as you start remembering, all the good memories that you had. And, but I still want to extend my condolences to you and Brenda. It's always tough. Also want to extend my condolences to, retired patrolman Stephen Menendez's family. Lost a good man there too. So we definitely keep, the mayor's family in your prayers, and also Menendez family in your prayers too. On a brighter note, I just want to give kudos and congratulate the finance department. You guys deserve to have a party. I don't know if Johnny's cooking trout, but the thing is, you guys really worked hard in this budget, and I'm just really glad to hear that you guys are having an employee appreciation down there. So that's really nice. Sergeant Moore, with the Emeritus Service Award, I think Sergeant Moore has won so many internal awards here at the police department while I've been on council. I don't think I could count them all in one hand. But Sergeant Moore is dedicated to this city. I tell you, just, not only as a police officer, but as a citizen. And he's one hell of a trout fisherman too. So, congratulate him, definitely. The new fire truck, I went out there to see it, took a picture of it. Looks really nice. I hope you guys get a lot of use out of that. And I hope it makes those 298 calls this month a little easier on you. So that's the other, now just for kind of like a order of business, just some request, just for the city manager. It's been about a month now since we had the gas explosion on Kramer Drive. Is there any way we could get an update from the gas company on what exactly happened?
They are doing an inspection March 21st. I will not have any information
Okay.
until after that date.
Okay. I just want to ask about that because I've had a few residents that live down there towards Liberty and Chestnut Hills down there that, they just really haven't got any like straight answers yet on what's
Yeah,
going on.
We haven't received any information until after that visit.
Okay. But once we do,
Yes,
I'm
I'm
okay.
hoping we can give it out to the public. I'm not sure what the process is for that, but I will update council and hopefully provide something, some sort of an update, or actually ask the gas company to come and provide an update to the public.
Well, that'd be wonderful. Absolutely. I appreciate that. The other thing is too, is there going to be a plan going forward to start escrowing money away for purchasing equipment in the future?
So which equipment?
I would say like anything that we buy, I think we should be putting a little bit away, for the next round, like especially with public works.
I don't disagree. So we have created that fire view apparatus replacement plan, and we've dealt with fire. That is something that I would like to do in the budget now. Since I've been here, we now identify 5 years into the future. We're linking them up to grants. If we don't get grants, then we'll have to find a way to pay for them, either escrow the money or take out debt financing. However, one of the things council can decide on is that over $1 million fund that you created from D&O taxes for infrastructure and economic development. A lot of those capital purchases can be classified as infrastructure, and that can be looked at as escrowing those funds. So you could take a portion of it out of there as well. We've got a lot of, more historically than I think we've had, some big projects happening, some companies coming in. I think we have an $8 million permit coming out, a $14 million permit coming out, the GSA building, the water lead replacement line project. All of those are getting split between those two funds, and that will give some funds to help with those purchases of capital costs.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Let me see. On another brighter note, I do want to congratulate WI. I remember when I was playing middle school basketball, not from around Clarksburg, but I remember being in 8th grade, and my little middle school, Marlinton, we won the Central West Virginia Athletic Conference down in Braxton County one year, and I can still remember it. And I still in my mind have like a Sports Center highlight of winning that tournament. So I get it. So that's good. And hopefully, when they move on to high school, they could have the same success. And hopefully one of these days that high school will be called Clarksburg High School. And that way when folks come up, they'll know it's Clarksburg High School. So other than that, I wish everybody a great weekend. I have to say tonight, these ordinances, these are stellar. I'll tell you, these were written and crafted beautifully, and I appreciate that. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Vice Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Riffle.
I want to echo and extend my condolences to the mayor and first lady. It's rough, and I hope you guys are getting through that. And also, and former Officer Menendez as well, his family. Just reading some of the comments, I didn't know him, but reading some of the comments and things, sounded like he was an outgoing person. Community was important. So I didn't know him, but so I want to highlight that that's important. That was important to him, and that's great. I always think that's great for officers to be involved in the community. So, condolences to his family. I want to congratulate the WI basketball team, and I echo Councilman Worth as well. I think it's something we should talk about and bring to the Board of Education. We know Mr. Hamrick was in favor of it on his way out, of changing that school. It'll be great marketing for our city, be good for the community, it'd be cohesiveness, it'll be bring everybody together. Because, the importance of youth sports and things like that is huge to the community. And I think naming is actually very important. So I agree. And I think that's something that we should bring to the Board of Education. It'd be great for our city. I mean, I don't know, we stop at the high school, but middle school too, Clarksburg Middle School, Clarksburg High School. I know RCB 4 years ago, they got new jerseys made and had Clarksburg on the front of it, and it just looked awesome. They took their pictures on top of the parking garage with the city in the background. Like it was awesome to me. So I think the kids liked that, and I think the kids were downtown and they became more aware of the city they actually live in. So I think that would be great for our city. So I hope all as a council we can support a resolution to push for that. First Fridays is coming up. And I agree with Councilman. That was a great First Fridays at the Roxy Grand, and it was packed in there. Provided everything. It was cold, so I was glad it was inside as well. We've tried to have them outside a few times in the cold, and January it needs to be inside. Also, outside of my norm, I'm going to mention. I want to actually applaud Councilman Griffith of Bridgeport. He made the decision to resign. And the reason I'm applauding is because he was so devoted to it. It started impacting his personal life. And if you're on council member, and if you really take it seriously, and if you really put everything into it, you have to balance that personal life and, and being committed and devoted to the city. I've struggled with it. Balancing that, so I applaud that he made the decision to resign as part for his family and for his welfare. I don't know him. I've met him a few times, but I don't really know him that well. So, but just reading the article and reading why he did it, I have a lot of appreciation to him and the way he did that, and it shows that he was committed and did things the right way. So. I just wanted to highlight that, and hopefully his welfare, he gets his personal life and everything and his health welfare together and it improves. And he's there for his family for a long time. And outside of that, that's all I got.
Thank you, sir. See something, say something, folks. Pick up the phone and dial 911. I concur with everything that everybody has said up here this evening. And I want to say hats off to Wayne Worth and his 20 volunteers for, their cleanup down in the southern part of the state the last couple of weekends. That's very commendable, son. Very commendable. So hats off to you. Call for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Hold on a second. Yes.
I just want to, because it doesn't get talked about very much. My kids participated in a group called Jerry West, and Council Vice Mayor Jerry spends an enormous amount of time, and it's only $20 per kid to actually participate. So regardless of income level, these kids get to play a sport. And I just wanted to personally thank him for all the time that he puts in to that league. One kid cried when it was done, and it was amazing.
You're welcome. We're adjourned.